Good morning. Yesterday we were looking at the ending of the Edenic covenant and the starting of the Adamic covenant, the covenant that God made with man and woman as he sent them out into the world to populate the world. As we looked at this transition from one covenant to another, we also realized that there were certain regulations and rules written in which are not recorded for us. We only know about this because of later events. And it's one of those later events I want to look at this morning. Adam and Eve had two sons, Cain and Abel. And in due course of time, they came to the very gates of Eden to offer sacrifice to God. Cain brought of the fruit of the ground which he had grown. Abel brought a lamb from his flock because he was a shepherd. And they offered both of these as sacrifice to God. And God said to Cain, he said, I will not accept your sacrifice. I will accept Abel's sacrifice. We look at him and you think, what a strange thing to happen. Why should God say that? Because God was trying to train man and to let him understand what life was really all about. See, God had taken in Eden an animal, allowed it to die, taken their skin to clothe Adam and Eve. He had shown them that sin was going to be covered by the shedding of blood. But that same rule still applied. And God wanted to show man how he should offer sacrifice. And he must have said to him, and that's why I said there's no record of him saying it, but he must have said to him, when you come and offer me sacrifice, the sacrifice I will accept is the death of a lamb. Why? Because he's beginning to do the training. He wants to show the human race what is going to come in the future, the death of the lamb, not this time of the sheep family, but this time the very Son of God himself, whom John the Baptist declared to be the Lamb of God, the sacrifice of God. And he is showing Cain as well. He's saying, if you really want to offer me sacrifice, then you must take of that which you have made in the world, and you must purchase a lamb from your brother and offer that lamb as a sacrifice. The sacrifice I will accept is the death of the lamb, because I want to train you in your understanding of your relationship with me. Well, Adam and Eve went on. They had many more children after the death of Abel, and I don't want to deal with that particular incident now, but they had many different children, and the population of the world began to grow. And then something happens. The enemy, once again, interferes with the human race. If you look into the chapter 6 of Genesis, you will see there a very strange story. It says that the sons of God, the angels, decided to leave the spiritual realm in which they were living and to enter into the physical realm. It's a strange thing to happen. And in doing so, to try to set themselves up as gods and goddesses in this particular world. Not only that, but it's a really strange story. For it says, as they did so, they found that they could have children with humans. They could interbreed with humans. Now, many ancient cultures have stories relating to this, about gods and goddesses living on a mountain, strange beings with strange powers. They could fly through the air, they could point a finger at you and you'd fall dead. They could do all sorts of things. Yes, of course they could. They were alien beings living in this world, using great spiritual powers to carry out their purposes. If you go into the Sistine Chapel and look up at the ceiling, you'll see God creating man. And you see him there in human form. And I have a feeling that these images we have of God come, in fact, from this ancient intrusion into the human race. Because as these angelic beings came into the human race, so they contaminated the human race. And there was gene contamination. And man got an idea that this is what God was really like. The 6th chapter of Genesis talks about the contamination of the gene pool. And God is going to have to overcome that through a person called Noah.